Welcome, my name is Ellen Duthoy and I'm pleased to be interviewing singer-songwriter Slim Stevens. Welcome, Slim.
Thank you.
Today's topic is moments of truth and the Stevens-Einstein Equations. I've got a long list of questions for you. Are you ready?
You said Helen Duthoy, right?
I did.
Not Hell for a Boy?
Not quite.
Oh, okay. I was trying to think of Tell and Destroy?
Nope, not quite.
Yell to Annoy?
Don't think that's it either.
Felon Decoy?
Closer.
Helen Duthoy.
We'll take it.
You're the saxophone player from White Bear Lake, right?
The legendary, yes.
All right. You have questions for me?
I do.
Your whole list of questions?
I do.
Would you have an extra copy of that?
I do have one right here.
Oh, okay. Let me just take a peek what's going on. What are we talking about today?
We're talking about the Stevens-Einstein Equations.
Oh, okay. Easy. All right, I'm ready.
Okay, what are the Stevens-Einstein Equations?
Oh, the Stevens-Einstein Equations. Hey, you put some of my research notes in here and everything. I'm looking at this stuff. Okay. Well, I might just look at this if your questions get too hard. Okay. Okay. Einstein had the incredible thought experiment and understanding what it meant that, like, if we have these lights, there are two lights up here, we're looking at them. If that light started moving toward us and that light stayed at the same place and they both turned their beam on, the light beams would hit at the same speed, which of course is impossible. If I'm running towards you and throw a ball towards you, the speed of the ball will include the speed of me running towards you. So the velocities add up. Whereas if those two lights are turned on, one coming at us and the other one stationary, we measure the speed of the light that gets to us, it's exactly the same. That was like completely revolutionary. It was just crazy. And the implication, Einstein said, was that space and time are related to each other. And what that means is you can literally come back to the future. So I had the hard data that when people are doing something, something was happening in their brains. And I made the deduction, and it turned out I was right, that they were having feelings. So I was able to confirm it. There was a guy named William Power at Caltech who did a series of experiments and actually proved it was true, that people actually have feelings.
It's proven. People have feelings.
And that led to my first equation. Oh, you got it here. Good. Okay. And I apologize for the math, but these things are a little hard. The first equation is P equals F, and that means people equals feeling. There was a huge backlash against this theorem, especially in the Ivy League, but today it's accepted everywhere except on the kook fringes. Kook Fringes, I think that was a band out in Minnesota, wasn't it?
It is up in the Northwoods.
Okay, all right. I remember their lead singer beat me out. Going to get Troubled Artist of the Year 3 years in a row.
Wow.
And he beat me out for that. Did you ever play sax with the Fringes?
Not with the Fringes.
Okay.
Another small town northern band.
All right.
Tell me another equation.
Tell you another equation?
Yes.
Well, ask me some more questions. Maybe you'll hear another one.
Okay. What are some moments of truth that you have experienced in songs?
Moments of truth that I've experienced in songs. So let me think for a minute. Do you ever stop and think for a minute and forget to start again?
In an interview with the magazine Ask Me No Questions, you gave a list of songs that have moments of truth for you.
That's right. Are they in here? Let me see. Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, all right. All right. Some of these phrases come from songs in the 60s. As they say, if you can remember the 60s, you weren't there. I'm not sure what that means. But actually, these that you purloined are all from my hero, Zimmy Zimmerman, known to a few as Bob Dylan. Here's one. How many times must a cannonball fly before it's forever banned? So that's a moment of truth kind of question. That was for me as a 12-year-old the impact of that song by Peter, Paul, and Mary being played. Then also from my hero, you'll find out when you're on the top, you're on the bottom. That was that meant a lot to me to hear coming from him, because in a lot of ways he had what I thought I wanted, and I believed him because he was told the truth about so much other stuff. Then he wrote, "I can't see my reflection in the water. I can't speak the sounds that show no pain." That meant a lot to me, because I realized at a young age, P equals F, that I couldn't speak the sounds that show no pain either. So that, in a sense, that was permission to own that kind of feeling. If you hear, if you hear vague traces of skipping reels of rhyme to your tambourine in time, I wouldn't pay it any mind. It's just a ragged clown behind. It's just a shadow you're seeing that he's chasing. Very strange, because he was telling me he's the ragged clown behind. Of course, that's what he was doing, was making skipping reels of rhyme, which of course he was doing as he was writing the song. But in this song, the Mr. Tambourine Man, he was acknowledging it's just a shadow you're seeing that you're chasing. He's seeing that you're chasing. So that for an artist or performer, or even any human, I guess, to realize that it's a dream. You know, we don't even know where we are, and we don't know where we were, and we don't know what we're going to be. I mean, just even if we can know all those things, we don't know what's going to happen in the next 30 seconds. So he was, I guess, being very existential in what he was telling me, which I heard. He was like, I think 10, 12 years older than I was. That it's just a shadow you're seeing these chasings, that he was acknowledging to me what the message was. Yes, that's a good path you're on. He's on a good path, and I was on the same path, which is, I mean, be prosaic about it, you know, expressing myself through songs. But for me, it didn't feel like that. It was more saving myself through songs on some level, you know, and needing to save myself through songs. So that one. They say every man needs protection. That was another one, you know. They say that every man must fall, yet I swear I see my reflection somewhere so high above this wall. So he was also acknowledging, wait a second, we're so mortal, we're just so transitory, but he has this incredible fantasy. He sees his name somewhere so high above this wall, which he had. You know, the poor guy had to deal with it from a young age, of having prominence, and so he was very smart. They say everything can be replaced. They say every distance is not near. So I remember every face of every man who put me here. So he was like, wait a minute, and he was put places by other people, you know, as a 19-year-old and 20-year-old. He wasn't running the whole system. The system was running him, especially courtesy of his good friend, his manager, Albert Grossman, who walked into him and helped propel him to some whatever it was. But he didn't. He had that confusion of seeing his name up in the way up and thinking himself being great, or whatever that word is, and also just feeling so mortal. So I'm glad you had that. Your cracked country lips I still wish to kiss, as to be by the strength of your skin. Your magnetic movements still capture the minutes I'm in. But it grieves my heart, love, to see it trying to be a part of a world that just don't exist. It's all just a dream, babe, a vacuum, a scheme, babe, that sucks you into feeling like this. What? So he was like, you know, I don't know if he wrote that song to a particular female, but the empathy empathetic signals that he was giving were a moment of truth for me. What's the last one? Oh, and my favorite, in the sense of relating to him, was, well, the end of it is, I dreamed I saw St. Augustine alive with fiery breath, and I dreamed I was amongst the ones who put him out to death. I awoke in anger, so alone and terrified, I put my fingers against the glass and bowed my head and cried. And that showed me that he also couldn't get across through the glass. You know, he was like blocked. He saw things, but he couldn't get to the other side of them. And for me, that was a very strong expression of feeling not alone. So that was the moment of truth. I'm glad you got those here.
Maybe now is the time to watch you perform your song called Forever.
Oh, over here?
Over here.
Okay.
You must have flown forever to find this patch of sand, 1,000 miles across the southern sea. The little boy remembers, but he just can't tell the man. And now he wants to talk to you for me. Please say no more, I'm lying, 'cause I don't know the truth, or I would end your sorrows with a word. The north wind is still rising and I don't know what to do. I think it's time to ask the little girl. So this is what I'll say as she shies away. How do aching wings forgive the wind? And what do children pray when they know that they can't stay, but don't know if they can fly again?
Is there a moment of truth in this song?
Yeah, there is for me. You know, as you heard him say, please say no more, I'm lying, because I don't know the truth. In other words, stop. You're telling me I'm lying. I don't even know what the hell I'm doing. So if somebody attacks me and tells me I'm a liar, I don't even claim I'm telling the truth. So leave me. Please say no more, I'm lying, because I don't know the truth, or I would end your sorrows with a word. Okay. But he knows he can't fix her sorrows, you know. So it's sort of like, leave me alone. In other words, stop calling me a liar, because I don't know the truth I don't claim to. And if I did, I would solve your problems with a word. In other words, sure, you're mad at me, you're blaming me for something. I would end your sorrow, and I could just say, if I knew the truth, of course, I could just solve them with one word. So that's like the absurdity of that. You know, obviously one person can't. So shut up, stop. And I guess the implication is work on yourself. So I think that's Another one in this is the little boy remembers, but he just can't tell the man. This hurts me because, you know, the 6-year-old that was you, did you have a nickname? Did anybody call you Ellie?
Bell.
L-Bell?
L-Bell.
All right, the 6-year-old that L-Bell, I mean, there was a 6-year-old on this planet named L-Bell who was you.
There was.
I think.
Little L-Bell.
And she knew things that you don't remember.
True.
And in this case, the search is for some kind of catharsis or understanding. And so that's why, to me, the little boy remembers cannot find the man. I can't find the little person. So there he is. But now what the song is about is this: you must have flown forever to find this patch of sand, 1,000 miles across the southern sea. So first of all, it's like, oh, you poor thing, what you had to go through to get here. I hear you. The little boy remembers, but he cannot tell the man, and now he wants to talk to you for me. So that's setting the stage. Please say no more, I'm lying, because I don't know the truth, or I would end your sorrows with a word. The north wind is still rising, and I don't know what to do. I think it's time to ask the little girl. So it's almost like saying, look, we have these structures as adults that it's hard to, there they are, these structures in adults, but there's the little girl is still part of you, little guy is still part of me. Maybe they can figure something out, which I think is sort of really basic. And I think that what did they say, that book, Everything I Need to Know I Learned in Kindergarten or something, that probably, for what it's worth, the ones who succeed together, the little boy and little girl are still talking to each other, you know, on some level. So this is what I'll say as I shy away. How do aching wings forgive the wind? In other words, it was so hard for you to get here. I'm so sorry that you had to go through so much pain to get to this patch of sand, the spot you got to. And what do children pray when they know that they can't stay, but don't know if they can fly again? So you're here, but you have to fly again, but you're already in pain. It's just going to hurt you even more to fly. So for me, that evokes how hard it is to empathize, you know, but how, I don't know, trying to empathize.
What could the little boy remember that he couldn't tell the man?
Probably the reasons that the grown-ups made things hard, you know, and that's sort of what the assumption is with her too in the song, The Little Girl, that, you know, that she's in pain, obviously. I mean, that's why he says, I would end your sorrows with a word. So other than that, I'm not really sure.
Any Stevens-Einstein equations at work in this one?
Yes, numbers 2 and 3 are at work in here. 2, I hope you did some homework. You read some up on this. 2 FYF plus 2 IFD. And I apologize for the math, but find your feelings if you dare. FYF IYD is find your feelings if you dare. That's a big sentence. Because a lot of people don't dare to find their feelings. I know, let's see what's on the next page here. I know because I don't think I found any feelings, at least for the first 4 decades. Of course I did, but it wasn't even on my radar as something important to do. And now I find feelings. My 2 dominant feelings right now are Did you ask me my two dominant feelings right now?
What would you say your two dominant feelings right now
Oh,
are?
okay. So this works too. Get ready, because I'm about to flip it on you. I discovered that my two dominant feelings right now, one can be summarized in two words: poor me. I didn't say that was a conclusion, but it's a feeling. And the other feeling was, I'm the luckiest person I know. That I am a king. Everything I want, and everything I can imagine wanting, I have. Wow.
How do those two go together?
I don't know. Well, you tell me. They sit down and have a drink, and they get into a fight. You know. So okay, what was your question with two? Yeah, you tell me two things you're feeling right now.
Two dominant
Or-
at this moment, or
well,
in my
or-
life, or at this moment? Perhaps maybe listless. You know, coming out of college and you don't know exactly where you're going yet. And then probably also excited. So I guess it's similar because I'm coming out of college and I don't know where I'm going yet.
Okay. The other equation is TABS, which is talk about the bad stuff. And that's we were asking in this song with Einstein Equations, the feelings. So yeah, he was trying to find his feelings, obviously. And this talk about the bad stuff is talk about the bad stuff. Talk about the bad stuff. You know, it's so funny that, don't have little Johnny talk about the fire. Were you L-Bell?
Elbow.
Don't mention that L-Bell dropped her dolly off the bridge. Don't mention it. Mommy, I wish I had my dolly. Oh, honey, don't worry about it. Just don't even think about it. Don't talk about it.
Right.
So it took them years of experiments. Like it took them years to find out if you hit kids, they think they're bad. They had to find that out. You can look it up. Similarly, they found out that if you talk about the bad stuff, it processes it, and all of a sudden, it soothes it and transforms it. I mean, it's so silly, so basic. You know, it's just sort of like Einstein with all these fancy doctors and physicists, you know, and here comes this precocious kid, you know, who wasn't even part of the famous institute and all this stuff. And he says, guess what? That train is coming to me and turns on a flashlight. That train is stopped and turns on a flashlight. The light gets to me at the same speed. He says, that's a fact. Hence, time and space, you know, then he takes it from there. Space and time are related. So, talk about the bad stuff.
This seems like a good time to watch the Colosseum.
The Colosseum?
The Colosseum.
Why? Is that full of bad stuff or something?
I don't know. We'll have to watch.
All right, all right.
I left the Colosseum. I just can't see it through. And before I start to weaken, I've got to talk to you. You see your little boy there, playing so calm and slow.